Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have my lovely co-host with me. Hi ladies.
Hi.
We have to be in our best behavior because we have Bimbo Oloyede as our guest today. You know, we can't be messing up. So comport yourself. No, you can't say it, comport yourself.
Need to sit down.
How you doing, my darling? Nima, how you doing? I'm talking to you.
Yes, you sound like a prefect. That's why I was laughing.
How are you
very
doing?
Good. Today we are going for project submission in school. My daughter built an aquarium to show her floaters.
Just taking the pictures so we can show it on air. What's wrong with you?
Pouring water all over the car.
Just taking a picture. Next time, please take a picture of it. Post it so we can see it.
Well done, Mommy.
Let's see whether we win best project this year.
Nice.
Those projects, did you see they are giving projects? Honestly, they're really serious matter.
I told her to project floaters and sinkers, and all she could think of was put a water in the bucket. So I had to buy her a big drum, and then she built it, a transparent one that will show what is floating and what is sinking.
Oh, that's so lovely.
How you doing, Mariam? I like the yellow and green combo.
Thank you. Teal, I think.
It brings out your color.
And you know, I never liked yellow. I just thought it would not suit me.
No.
So
Really cute.
That complexion.
Look
Look at you on the screen.
You're popping.
Plus this hairstyle. I already told you about the hairstyle.
yes,
It's
you
nice.
did.
It's Thursday. Any plans for the weekend? Are you here tomorrow?
Yes, I'm here
Okay,
tomorrow,
so-
but today is World Selfie Day.
Oh, really? What does that mean?
World Selfie Day.
Stop
Tell
it
a
at
story
those
with
days.
a selfie.
Trust me, Tokwe's Instagram handle will be boiling right now.
How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm amazing. And finally, we've made the headline. Finally. Mommy, your view has made it. We deserve some accolade.
Right.
How
Yes,
are you?
we actually made headline concerning the show we did on Tuesday concerning the sickle cell. Lots and lots of reactions, both locally and internationally, and not really for good reasons. So what we're going to do on Tuesday next week, we're going to have people, proponents of the Sickle Cell Foundation, those who are trying to help those with sickle cell, living with sickle cell. They're going to come on the show on Tuesday. Hopefully, we're going to have an audience. If you're one of those people, either a carrier or someone that believe in those who have sickle cell and they have a chance, come on that show. We have an audience stage here. Come. Let's be part of that show because we want to encourage them. It's not a death sentence as was proposed last week, but we
want to have a conversation.
Because some people do feel and agree with the professor.
Yes.
There's a school of thought that believes that the professor was saying the truth, but it was a bit too harsh. Others are saying no, they totally disagree with him. So let's have the conversation. Let's not keep it under the carpet. So on Tuesday, come on Tuesday, let's have a conversation on this. So any plans for the weekend, Jumoke?
Well, you know what my plans usually are on Saturday? To have a business meeting, and on Sunday to rest very well.
Can't wait till you start taking care of babies. You now start taking business meeting. That meeting, business meeting, they'll say,
you know, when you were taking care of babies, Shebi, you will do your 6 months breastfeeding, Abby, and then go back to work. So that's how life is now. What are your plans for the weekend? Are you going for dinner?
Unfortunately, I lost someone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I lost somebody. So we might be having the burial this weekend, and it's an in-law, so it's an older man. So
Sorry, Moya, can I quickly mention that tomorrow is the Fidal prayer for my friend, and I was supposed to mention it on the show, so there will be a large turnout of lawyers, young lawyers at the Fidal prayer at Alaka Estate tomorrow.
okay.
My estate social secretary also lost his mom. So the service of services today and the burial tomorrow. May her soul rest in peace. Well, our minds are with you, Toye Ononuga.
All right, let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspapers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to start with the Punch. 2018 budget hard to implement with National Assembly's alteration, says Buhari. PhD scandal. Unilag disclaims Osun Poly rector's BSc. NERC suspends Ibadan Disco's board over 6 billion naira inappropriate transaction. Buhari okays 28 judges for appeal in high courts. Foundation tackles Otoikan, says there's hope for sickle cell patients. OAU fires professor over sex for mark scandal. FG shouldn't fund ranches with public money. And Eagles rated third worst team after first round of matches. That's their business.
Should we take the OAU matter as our human interest?
No. Let's take
OAU is in other papers.
The Igbajo Polytechnic.
Noshun?
Yes, in Osun State. Right. We've taken the story before where he was being investigated.
Idajo.
Igbajo.
Sorry, Igbajo.
Okay, he was being investigated for using fake PhD to become director of the Polytechnic. And so finally he's been sacked. They said not only is that PhD fake, the BSc and the MSc, everything is fake. So he's out and gone, which is good because...
Which is a good thing. But there's a caption, a smaller one, where the in-laws beating up their... brothers beating up their in-laws over domestic violence and killing him. So this man is in the habit of beating his wife, and that's the unjust part of most likely unjust end of domestic violence. When you allow it fester, it could result in the murder eventually of either the victim or the perpetrator. So that was what happened. In the usual habit of beating his wife, he beat her up, took her to a health center. When she was recuperating, the brothers just went there, beat him silly till he gave up the ghost.
There's another lady, I wish she had brothers, because she married her husband August last year, got pregnant, and she called her mom February this year to say his sisters and himself were always ganging up to just fight her. So in June 16th, the mom said that she called again saying that, Mama, they are here, they're beating me, but she couldn't come because her father has a stroke. The mama is taking care of the father in the village. Anyway, that was the last she heard of her daughter. The husband called the mama the day after and said that the daughter slept and died. And mama said, my daughter did not have epilepsy.
Let's move on to The Nation. Buhari signs budget 2018 despite 578 billion naira injection. And there's a breakdown of all the various alterations from the National Assembly. How OPEC lifted oil sector by Kachuku. OAU sack sex for Marx Professor Akindele. APC court refuses to stop Lagos delegate. And Igbo monarchs back honor for MK Abiola. So the OAU professor has been sacked finally.
Richard Akindele.
Congratulations to all of us who made the noise.
Yes.
Especially
the victim.
Should be sacked. According to the VC of OAU, he was found guilty of using his position wrongly to coerce someone into sex. And they saw more evidence. The girl had more evidence of WhatsApp chats. Apart from the audio we heard, she had more evidence, and when it was presented, it was beyond.
Do you know the basis of the relationship, where he said she did not pass?
Right.
That she actually passed.
She got the 45.
You know,
yeah, she got 45 and he lied that she got 33. Two quick things is that now that there's evidence, now the police in Ife can actually take this up and prosecute him. Secondly, a lot of the evidence in that he said that the girl was the one even proposing to him. His friends denied it. That is not true.
And this will also encourage lots of other girls who are doing exactly the same thing to come and say, listen, at least see justice being served here. Great. Moving on now to nobody's talking about budget. Okay.
We're waiting for you.
Budget. National Assembly inserted 578 billion naira project. Says Buhari. Presidency governors on trade-off. Nigeria's public debt rises to 22.7 trillion in Q1. Buhari okays appointments of 20 new judges. We've not received any court order on Nwazurike's police. And Kogi local government boss appoints 200 aides.
To do what?
Benue killings, DSS arrest, Suswam. Okay, let's talk about the aides first.
Okay, so the local government chairperson of Dekina local government area of Kogi State, Professor Prince Isaac Okolo, yesterday announced the appointment of 200 aides, 188 aides, along with his 2 legitimate ones, so making them 200. Some of them are supposed to be, he has 30 for media. He has ridiculous appointments. The explanation was just too outrageous for me, but he said the excuse is that it is in line with the governor of Kogi State's agenda to end unemployment.
Okay, so let's just pack them all up.
I drink water for
this. Please, can I quickly mention that when we say over-bloated civil service, this was what happened in the days of the military boys. They couldn't provide employment aside from just employing everybody into the civil service.
This is a local government.
So this is a system that has failed already. Nobody should even be thinking of it.
And now they're fighting for local government autonomy. If you imagine he have autonomy, we just hired 1,000 people and be paying them salary with his budget.
What happened to farming in Kogi?
Let's move on now to we'll talk about budget. Talk about budget in the Tribune. But let's talk about in Daily Sun, uproar over proposed ranches in 10 states. Igbo, Middle Belt, Yoruba groups reject federal government's plan.
Reject it.
No plan for ranching in Benue autumn. I totally don't agree with that. National Assembly padded 2018 budget, says Buhari. Niger Republic to sign MOU on joint refinery next month. And OAU sacks professor over sex for marks. These are ranches thing.
Let me just quickly mention that the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, SMBLF.
Who appointed them leaders?
Where are the appointed leaders?
Let me ask you a question. Remember when Otodo Gbame happened, everybody here was upset. Because we didn't like the fact that the Lagos state government had cleared out. And the rationale was that they've been there for many years doing their trade. That's the source of livelihood. They've been there. And we all said it here. Provide an alternative for them. Yes, they've been there. But you see, you can't just take them off.
Illegitimately there.
Although they're illegitimately. But the point I'm trying to make is that these people have been in certain areas for so many years, centuries, not many years. And suddenly, this group has come.
This group even agrees.
Might be a solution.
They agree with ranches.
Okay.
What they disagree with is using our taxpayers' money, 179 billion,
and somewhere
to provide the ranches. Are they providing land for farmers in the southwest?
Okay. So we'll find out if they're going to use that
problem, and we're trying to solve it.
So let's move on.
So when you want to solve the problem, don't create further problems for yourself in the future. Okay. That's what we are saying.
Okay, let's move on to Tribune because I want to talk about budget.
The government said that this is an absolute illegality.
Okay, that's what Fayose says.
His commissioner.
Oh, his commissioner. Nigerian Tribune, very quickly. National Assembly reduced project costs, introduced 578 billion own projects. Southern Middle Belt leaders to 5G. Public funds should not be used to build ranches. Okay? I think all the other stories already have it. So let's talk about the budget for a second.
So the president signed...
reluctantly, please.
Yes, that was what I wanted to use resistance. So reluctantly signed into law the budget that, the National Assembly has said to him, saying that, your people, the way they are. So I read through all the things they moved. They reduced the budget for the Ibadan, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Let me read some for you.
Let me just finish. Okay, the one for Second Niger Bridge. They reduced a lot of... Even our health budget was reduced with over 7.5 billion.
Estimates for health cut by 7.4 billion.
With the Niger Bridge, was it not slashed to 500 million?
You read the things they diverted them to. They are simply constituency projects
for themselves. Elections. What was their excuse? They said that the projects weren't balanced. That's our, what they call the national
whatever interest.
That it should be, if you do 2 projects in South, you should do 2 projects in North. That the projects weren't balanced across the country.
Remember, I was in Enugu recently.
Yes.
And because here, they say that where's the budget for Enugu Airport? Construction of Enugu Airport terminal building cut from 2 billion to 500 million. I saw that airport, and that airport looked like it really needed, and they're nowhere near completion. So cutting that budget is obviously going to affect the construction.
What the president even has a problem with is, if you're cutting the budget based on that Nigeria doesn't have money, it would have made sense. But you increased your own budget from
let me read it for you.
Please give me the right figures.
Where is this here? Somewhere
from
here.
13.
Ooh, I have
125 or thereabouts,
yes, to 139, something like that.
Yes. Nigerians.
Anyway, we'll break it down.
Right now,
we just got the numbers now. So by next week, would have read it, and those are your friends would have given us the charts.
Yes, now tracker and budget.
Yes,
they've already even started breaking it down one after the other.
Let's get all the numbers. So
next week Wednesday, Abby,
we'll break it down so that you can understand what's
already.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, we'll discuss about a girl who refused to take off her nose ring as she was going to meet her parents-in-law. And our guest will join us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, a story of a lady has been trending on social media about taking up her nose ring as she prepares to meet her boyfriend's parents. Some people insisted that the girl should not remove her nose ring because her man should be okay with it. His parents should be also. While others feel that she should remove it. First impression matters. We'd like to hear your views on this. Join us on the show is a veteran Nigerian journalist and the producer, Bimbo Oluyede. Welcome to the show. To join the conversation, you can call us on 070-806-6801. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweet. Before we go into the conversation, so what's your view so far on our behavior?
Are we
presentation?
Are
we prim?
Please.
Is that what you asked me to?
So, but in the few seconds you've seen us, are we managing? Are we doing better? Or
You're bright.
Yes.
You're vivacious. I think you can hold, not I think, I know you can hold the attention of the audience.
Okay.
Sometimes I think you might speak a little bit too fast.
Right.
But I'm not sure whether that's because I'm from a different generation. Yeah, but apart from that, yeah,
Cool.
I think we're doing good.
Nice.
Good, thank you.
So,
Thank you, ma'am.
the matter at hand, in your view, do you think the young girl in question should dress appropriately to meet her maybe future in-laws?
Future in-laws.
Possibly take off the nose ring, clear up, put some foundation on the tattoos, that kind of stuff. Do you think that's the appropriate thing, appropriate approach?
I've been thinking about this, you know. I'm wondering if this might be the first real test of how much she cares about the man she says she's going to marry.
Okay.
Yes, yes, because you see, in marriage, there are many such tests.
Right.
Yes. Is it a question of, do I love this man enough to make certain compromises?
Right.
Do I think that it's important for my in-laws to accept me, assuming that it is a marriage that's going to last forever? Do I think that I need to make one or two sacrifices? Because
even if it's just an hour.
Well, you see, I'm not sure that it can be an hour, because we do sometimes have to make a few changes, a few lifestyle changes when we change our situation, especially when we move from being single to being married. So I don't know. I presume that, you know, he loves her.
That's why he wanted to take her.
Yes,
home.
nose ring and all.
Yes.
But then, well, he also might have to make a little bit of a compromise if he wants his family to accept her.
You know what? I think it's just a nose ring, for heaven's sake. And we women, we do it to men all the time. You are going to see my parents, pull up your jeans. Your boyfriend wears saggy jeans most of the time. You hang out with him, he's fine. And then when you want to see your parents, please comb your hair. Please take your hair down, you know,
please
cut your hair or take off your beard. But when they do it to us girls, oh my God, it's about my personality. This is who I am. Do you understand? We get that all the time. When the men, they are quick to do it for you. You see them at their wedding, they'll be like, I cut off my dreads for my wife because she wanted me to take it off. But the woman will come and say, no, this is who I am. Accept me for who I am.
I wanted to personalize the question to say that you're a grandmother.
Yes.
If your son brings a girl with a nose ring to say, hi, Mom, that's my girlfriend.
And with ripped jeans and tattoos.
You're making it worse. So
Ripped jeans, ripped jeans and tattoo. Let's add it.
Yeah, I made it worse. What's come on.
So let's add some ripped jeans and tattoos to that.
What would your initial reaction be?
Please.
Jam question.
Well, it's not a jam question. I think my response would depend on the conversation that I have with her.
Okay.
I come from, what do I say, artistic stock, if you like. You know, we are TV people, we are creative people.
Yeah.
So I've seen all kinds of different things. So a nose ring really wouldn't make that much difference to me. I think what would be more important is who is the person, what stuff is she made of, you know, how does she relate with my son? somewhere along the line, I must confess, if really it's going to go the way that I think it might go, I might advise her, when you meet A, B, and C, this nose ring
cannot wake.
I'm not sure that, you know, it would be the appropriate thing to do.
Yeah. For me, that's exactly where the question is. What kind of person is he that, you know, a nose ring would attract him? A nose ring person would attract him, or a tattoo-wearing person would attract him. That's, for me, that's the question. If he's attracted to a nose ring person, he should be able to present a nose ring, because consistent in masters. If tomorrow she's been married and everything, we hear it all the time here. She was a pretentious person. You know, she covered up all this before we got her. And then, you know, the hatred starts to, distrust starts to come in, especially from the in-law side. So what kind of person was he that he got attracted to? A nose ring person. He must be a creative or adventurous person, and he likes those kind of things. So I don't think his parents should be worried about
most
the
people
kind of person he brings.
Attacking her, saying that you want to create a first impression and that every human being sells themselves on a daily. Are you going to go for an interview with a nose ring? Of course not. So if you're going to meet your parents, you want them to know you, who you are inside first. Let them not be judging you based on your tattoo, your nose. Well, after they know you, when they love you, you can now be introducing the things one after the other. Before the marriage.
Every person is a package.
They would have already known because you said
they know
for you, because you're artistic, the nose wig may not bother you until you have a conversation with her. You want to have that conversation first without being judged how you are dressed.
Exactly. No. And the thing is, the man you're in a relationship with knows you have this nose ring, and he's the person you're going to spend your life with. So it's not like they're saying, now change who you are for me. He's just saying, you know, I love you so much, but maybe my parents are a bit of like on the conservative side. Why don't we go have a conversation with them? Let them even see how brilliant you are.
Let me drive this conversation a bit deeper, because I want us to talk about, use a very significant word, a cogent word, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Especially today in relationships, people are not willing to sacrifice. They're not willing to take that step back. You said that once you move from being single to married, there's certain things you're faced with, and you need to make this kind of sacrifice. I want you to expound on that a bit. The kind of sacrifices people should be willing and ready to make in marriages, some of which is moving your nose ring for your parents-in-law, accepting the fact that, listen, I'm about to go see my parents-in-law. Certain things about myself must be seen in a certain way. So
that's pretense.
You think it's pretense?
I think so.
So let us differentiate between pretense and making a sacrifice.
Well,
another jam question.
It is really. I think that in making a sacrifice, it is a deliberate decision. It's a deliberate decision to deny yourself of something or some aspect for the greater good or for a bigger purpose. Pretense. I think that is more of deceiving yourself than making a sacrifice.
Exactly.
Okay? If you make a sacrifice and it's something that comes from within,
you're willing to let go.
It is sustainable.
Okay.
But if you are pretending, you can't sustain it.
Exactly.
You know, like I have an example. You know, some people maybe before they finally meet their partner, maybe they've had a child before, and you'd hear where they would come into the relationship pretending to never have had children or never have been married. That is serious, you know, that's pretense. But a nose ring is just an item of fashion.
Divine, before we move on. Divine, are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Ladies, and good morning to my Jimoke. And good morning to your guests in the studio.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah, the issue of code dressing or meeting mother-in-law or whatever in-law it is, I don't look at it as an issue. It's quite different to maybe going for an interview. You see, we should be who we are, no matter the circumstances, so that we should stand at the pace of time.
Yeah.
I believe that if you dress the way you are, I can equally address you. But if you pretend to be this and you are not, maybe at the tail end, it will backfire.
Very true.
Shouldn't your son be bringing someone like
who you are in the presence of anybody?
That you easily
in terms of marriage. But if we are going for an interview, it's a quite different issue.
Okay.
So I prefer you being who you are to meet whoever you want to meet, so that at the tail end, people will defend you.
I want to agree with Divine, because if you if your sacrifice is not who you are, it's not sustainable. For instance, asking somebody to cut his dreadlocks. There'll be some girl who loves dreadlocks. So maybe that lady who doesn't love his dreadlocks is not the right person for him. A typical example, when I started my dreads, the person I was with didn't like it, wanted me to cut it. Guess what? The next guy was, it was the dress that attracted him. So just be yourself. There's somebody for you. Another example, my auntie was looking at one of my cousin-in-laws wearing a very short dress, and my auntie was saying, "You're looking really sexy." Me, a young girl at the time, I was, this is indecent now. So imagine that her husband was afraid to bring that girl home, thinking that his mom would not appreciate.
It's a very common example.
We just think on behalf of our parents. Allow everyone to be themselves. They will find the right person for them.
There's this common example that I noticed. I had a friend who, just like me, hated kneeling. So I grew up hugging my parents. I don't know how to kneel. So the standard is when you go visit anybody, you then have to kneel in public. And then you do it the first time, and the next time you're not doing it, your parents-in-law will start to think you were not well brought up. But if they had understood you from the get-go that you're not a kneeling person, but it's not disrespect, you would have made things easier.
Yourself. Let's just go on a break. When we come back, I think we'll now try to get our guests to help us out in areas of marriage, family, work. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Let me take it this way. Today, many marriages are having issues. Mothers, wives are cheating on their husbands now. Men are somewhat feeling unempowered because their wives are so empowered, they're making so much money. There's a lot happening out there. People are having it difficult combining work and family because they're always in the office. In your view, what has happened and how can we work towards it? This is a two-part question because there are also single ladies who are doing so well, working and finding it difficult to settle down because the men feel like, oh, you guys, you're all put together. I can't control you anymore. There's so many challenges out there today, Ma. As a veteran, somebody who is I'll call you a senior citizen, somewhat, you've been through many years. In your view, what's happening and how can we come out of this?
I think one of the main problems in relationships and marriages today is communication. Right. Or lack of it. The truth is that if you marry somebody today and you don't keep communicating, even 2 years down the line, perhaps you have had certain experiences as a wife and you have had certain experiences as a husband. If you don't share those experiences, if you don't talk about them, you discover that both people change slightly as a result of those experiences. Yeah. So the naive young man and the naive young woman that married today has enlarged, if you like, enlarged their view, enlarged their horizon. So 2 years down the line, when they're talking, they're not talking from the same platform or from the same basis as they were when they married as, as naive people. Yes. Now, that's just 2 years. Okay, fast forward 5 years. Perhaps she's had one child, maybe two. Perhaps she has been promoted, maybe, okay. Manager. Empowered. So she's more empowered. Yes, she's likely to have gained a little bit of weight. He may or may not have been promoted, but let's even assume that he has. Yes. Okay. So he also is on a different platform. So he is controlling more people in his office. He probably expects that he should also be controlling his wife at home. But meanwhile, she has developed and is also now perhaps a controller in her own office. So you've got two controllers living under the same roof who really have not communicated very well with each other over the past 5 years and who wake up one morning and discover that it looks as if I woke up next to a stranger.
Right.
Now, if you don't make that effort to keep communicating, and it is difficult because men and women think differently. Men and women even speak differently.
So you talk, you don't actually communicate.
Yeah. So if you say something and you don't get a response, then obviously you haven't communicated.
Yes.
But you assume that because you're talking, somebody is listening. Now there's a difference between listening and hearing.
Right.
Yes. So you can talk from now till tomorrow morning, and he heard everything that you said, but did he listen?
Right. You know, I fell in that trap not too long ago. I think was it last year or something, or 2 years ago, where myself and my husband had an issue, and I was just sulking. I just refused to talk to him, and I thought it was going to come back 2 days and 3 days try to talk to me. He moved on. Like, we didn't talk, and I was still playing along for like a whole week. This guy didn't come to me. And we wake up on the same bed, he gets up, goes out, he doesn't even acknowledge. I'll call for do all the things women do just to get attention. He even act as if he saw me. It went on for 2 weeks. I had to wake myself up with Mariah. Okay, let's drop this nonsense. I had to call him. So women can fall into that trap where we like to sulk. We like the attention. We just, and gradually we feel like, listen, I'm not going to say, let him be the one to start the conversation. A lot of women feel like, I don't have to. I'm a woman. He should be the one to come and try to talk to me. So there's an issue of wisdom that we seem to lack today. Is that the same? Do you ever experience that?
Well, every marriage experiences times when, you know, you actually don't communicate.
Don't get along.
Yes, when you don't get along. But you have to make a decision.
Right.
How long do you want it to last? Because it can last for a very long time. And by the time, really, it has gone on for 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, you've really lost so much time.
Right.
How do you get that time back? Well, I think we're probably a little more patient in my generation. Yes, I know. Well, in my parents' generation, they were also more patient than mine. Okay. But I think we have to learn to be tolerant.
And now our generation, I think we have so many distractions. So if you're not communicating right now, you actually don't feel it because you're now on your phone and then you're communicating with so many other people. So you're not now paying attention to the problem. You mentioned a word.
Sometimes things happen in the beginning of marriage that, you know, both of you were guilty of. Very young couple, you make your mistakes, and then you agreed to move on, maybe because maybe a child comes in, other things happen, you've moved on. One person still carries the grudge. So whenever you have issues later in life, remember in the beginning what you did. How do you think communication helps in that? And
how do we assist couples to forgive?
How are you certain that, you know, you've been forgiven and you've moved on?
To me, forgiveness actually is a very simple thing. It's a decision. It's not something that you have to sit down and think about. You decide, I forgive. You may not forget because something has happened and
we're human anyway.
So it's there in your subconscious. But the fact that you haven't forgotten it does not mean that you're dwelling on it because it happened, so it happened. Okay.
Talking about this, I know Jumoke wants to jump in here. Talking about this, I have always said, because Jumoke and I would disagree on the fact that this issue of love, that love is overrated. Love is a decision. It's just you say, you know what, like I choose to love you and work on that. But Jumoke feels in the, oh, you know, the romantic, I have to fall in love. I must see the stars. You must, you know, you've been through it. Because a lot of young girls right there saying that, I'm not getting the jitters, I'm not getting the,
I'm not
feeling it.
Which takes you far? The chemistry or the mature decision to love?
Yes.
Which one takes the marriage? Which one goes far?
I think we have already agreed that it's the mature decision. No, you're asking a question that is so obvious. It's the love that attracts you in the first instance. It's the maturity to stay in.
No, sometimes the love doesn't attract you. Sometimes they arrange marriages and the love doesn't attract you. So you're there. So I'm not asking what you think. Let me ask you what you think.
Okay, so you interrupted my question. I wanted to ask a question.
You know what? I think that there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone.
Okay.
Loving is sustainable. Being in love is not. And I'll tell you why I think that way. You see, when you are in love with somebody, there's a craziness that goes to it. It goes with it. There's this you know, this bubbly effervescence, you know, life is not real, it's exciting, etc., etc. You can't live like that forever. So there are times when in a relationship, you can be in love today and tomorrow I love you. And 2 months later, I'm in love again. And then, no, with the same person. With the same person, yes. Yes, it goes, it's in and out, yes. I don't think that you can have that craziness on a constant basis. Because if you're crazy constantly, nothing will get done. You won't achieve anything. You won't think rationally. You won't look after your children properly. You won't, you know, operate well at work. So loving is a constant denominator. It is there. Being in love comes in
All right, out. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Jumoke, you had a question.
I wanted to talk about counseling in the area of marriage now, because in the days of our grandparents, they knew that they had nowhere else to go, you know, except stay in their husband's houses. So regardless of what they saw in marriage, they stayed put. So it wasn't like they had successful marriages. The women just didn't have anywhere else to go. Today, even if your parents will not take you back, women are more empowered. They can rent their own apartment and say, for instance, an American, his 24-year-old daughter is now saying, I'm a lesbian after many years of marriage and 2 children. I'm a lesbian. And you actually can do that today because women are more empowered. So for marriages to succeed, I believe that we need more counseling. Did you have counseling in your days? And do you believe that every marriage today to succeed needs someone that they can talk to? Because we can keep on talking to one another, to each other, without actually listening. Because I'm offended, I'm hurt, and it's only 2 of us. But once there's a third impartial party, then both of you can actually listen through that third party.
Even though all marriage counseling tell you don't bring a third party. So that's a good, so let's add that into it.
Well, I think a lot depends on who that third party is.
A professional counselor. Well, I'm not talking about pastor.
Okay, all right, a professional counselor. Well, such a person is supposed to be impartial.
Yeah.
The point is, a husband and wife, would they be willing to be honest? Would they be willing to really bare their minds and souls to enable the counselor give unbiased and useful advice? Because if you give somebody half the story, then they will only respond to the half information that they have. And as you say, it will be half a solution. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with if you can't sort a matter out between you. I think it's okay to go to a professional counselor. But as I said, you really do have to be honest.
Let's look into it.
We have some tweets here. Mr. Adebayo is really on tweets today.
Okay.
We should not pretend to be in a relationship. We all have our qualities and have to compromise on things to make a relationship blossom. Pretense can only make it worse and hurtful. Accept every individual the way they are. And he also says...
Ademola Alalade says, Auntie Bimbo has mentioned communication is very essential in keeping marriages together. Above all, patience from either side will help a great deal in sustaining relationships. Blessing says, the key to good relationship is God first, then maturity, understanding, communication, lastly, honesty. PJ Comedian says, maturity helps you know how to strike the balance between work and family. Making compromises is not about who was right or wrong. All right, Nima has a question on her career.
I was going to come to that, but I was going to just say that I know you've been, concerning your career, I was going to touch on the fact, on your views on journalism today. We're still going to bring you back to talk about journalism, media, and all that, to focus, because today was just a chat day. But in your view, generally, today, journalism today and journalism then, how it is. What's your view? Do you think it's been watered down? Do you feel that the profession is not really upheld as it used to be?
I think that the individuals practicing today may not be paying as much attention to detail as happened in the past. I think there's a lot of speed, if you like, attached to quite a lot of what we do. And I understand that because, you know, information is coming in all the time. There are devices everywhere. So the information is moving really at the speed of light. But I think we need to do a little bit more sifting. And I think we need to think a little bit more about some of the solutions that we could be offering. Yes, solutions to the situations and the problems that we have generally, you know, in the country.
Can I cut you? I'm sorry, I know you want, and I know you want to talk about her book, but the sifting thing. You see, today, as you said, everything is going fast.
Yes.
If I choose as a CEO, say, you know what, don't publish it until we know. Somebody else has gone with it and it has run. Everybody's really talking about you're late.
Yes, so
things are so fast today. So, as a news editor, it's so difficult these days to really wait and sift. Sometimes it's just as it comes out, you're better off doing a rejoinder and say, okay, this is what we heard. But somehow, in your view, yes, it's gone fast. But can we really say we want to wait and sift?
Well, I think if we want to be true to our profession, and we want to be sure that what we're putting out is right, then we've got to verify it. We can't just, you know, because we want to
be the first.
Yes, I mean you can't sacrifice the principles of journalism, you know, at the altar of scoops. Okay,
exclusivity.
Yes, exclusive.
Let me jump in.
Ask how, you know, how your marriage if you ever had to affected your work, or you know what sacrifices you had to make. But I know you have a book on proper
Strictly speaking.
I saw the book review.
Strictly
I was like, maybe I'm not an Igbo person, you know. I always claim to be local content to cover up for certain imperfections. So please tell us about the book and
why the need for your book.
Well, I felt that I'd reached an age and a stage where I ought to try and do something to maintain standards. And I have been in this profession for decades. I don't think that I should be bowing out, or I should be thinking of bowing out without doing something to ensure that people do things the right way. And for me, the first part of the effective communication process is good pronunciation. If it is English, and if we are, and if we're supposed to be role models as broadcasters, then I think the right thing to do is to
pronounce right,
communicate correctly.
Question, okay, I have one. No, sorry, Mariam, please, because I see even the Americans have their form of English. And English is, you know, they develop with the society. So we are Nigerians. Are we allowed to, you know, to kind of adjust the English language to
speak pidgin?
Nigerianize it.
No, this is not pidgin. Now you're speaking English, but you know, certain factors from your accent, your mother tongue will affect the way you Is there anything wrong in that?
Well, it is, what you're talking about is Nigerian English. Yeah, it exists. It's not bad. But it has its place. Now, Nigerian English has no place if you're a news anchor. If you're a news anchor and you are presenting the news, and you're presenting the news, and it is a bulletin that is watched or can be watched anywhere in the world, Nigerian English has no place, has no space, has no time in such a situation. So if you are supposed to be a role model, which I think you should be as a news anchor, I don't say that every kind of presentation requires Queen's English or good English, but a news anchor has to pronounce the words as well as can be expected.
Okay, thank you so much. So we look forward. I know next week you're going to be on Wake Up Nigeria to actually do a proper review. So we'll look at the book, look at all the various
book launch? When? Which date?
25th, actually.
Oh,
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Looking to read
all right,
the book.
so that's all we can take on the show. Don't forget, tomorrow Nigeria versus Iceland is playing. You can watch it on TVC 4 p.m. Let's all watch it together and let us pray. Please,
let us pray
come
hard.
fasting. We will break after the match. Come fasting. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Fed was